Morning. It is Wednesday. I am actually at a doctor's appointment this morning, so I'm heading into work a bit late, but I am early for my appointment, so a good time to actually stop and have a chance to chat a bit while I can actually access a few of my notes and get some specifics that don't necessarily stick in my head all the time. So, following on from the video I posted yesterday about the Fenrisian year, I'd like to actually talk about some geographical points of interest on the planet that do stand out, that do stick around. So I've got my notes below me, so if you see me looking down, I'm consulting that. Starting out then with the important geographic locations of Fenris, we have the spine of the world, the mountains that I've mentioned in the far north. One of the only landmass that always remains a landmass, the home of the gods. There are a total of 7 major peaks in that mountain range, the largest of which is the Fang, which is the home of the gods, which is the home of the Star Wolves. That mountain is actually tall to the point that the peak of the mountain disappears into the clouds and into the atmosphere. They can actually dock spelljammers at that mountain above the cloud layer and not have people on the planet be able to see it. Which is part of why the Fenrisians don't actually know about spelljamming. The Star Wolves are the only people on the planet who actually know what spelljamming is. The people are very isolated and sheltered from that. The other mountains in the range, most of them kind of... Excuse me. Most of them kind of are just giant mountains. The couple that do have something a bit special about them is Krakgard. Krakgard is a mountain that actually has been leveled off at the top. So the top of the mountain is completely planed off and level, and that is because it is used by the Star Wolves for funeral ceremonies. So occasionally the people of Fenris will see fires being lit on top of Krakgard, and it just gives them more evidence that yes, their gods actually are up there and actually are alive and doing things. And it's seen as a very favorable omen, ironically, mainly because the people of Fenris don't understand the significance. So, ironically, every time the Star Wolves have fatalities and have funeral rites, the people actually see it as a good sign. So that's, interesting. I've already talked about the Fang, also called the Et. That's A-E-T-T. The other mountain that I think is worthy of mention is Allfather Peak. Now, obviously, Allfather is the term that is used for Russ's father. Russ is called the god of gods. So if you follow the hierarchy here, the Allfather kind of fills the role of the god above all. Sometimes called Io or Ao, sometimes unnamed, but he's way up there. And Allfather Peak is a mountain dedicated to him. It is said that when Russ first fell to Fenris, it was at Allfather Peak that he landed. It is considered a holy place. It is also the only place in the world where Glimmerfrost can be found. Glimmerfrost is a type of icy gemstone that can be used to make Hellfrost weapons. Because it's a holy place, very few people will go there to mine. Because of that, Hellfrost weapons are quite rare. But they can be quite powerful. Now, other than that, there are a couple other mountains that are outside of the main mountain range, which, obviously, because they're quite tall mountains, the water levels surround them, but never get to the point that they actually climb up them. And those are the Fire Breather, which is a massive volcano, which is where a lot of the more daring mountain tribes tend to stay. And then you also have Thunder Mountain, which again becomes home of some of the mountain tribes. It is well known because now one of the risen gods, the Wolf Lord Ragnar Blackmane, was said to have risen from among the Thunderfist tribe on that mountain. You also have the Valley of Burning Stone. Now, this valley obviously is normally there. It is high enough that it's one of the last things to be covered with water. That's not to say it's never covered with water. But it's well known for a completely... It's well known for a completely different reason than the places that we've looked at so far. The other places are well known because they're safe places. They're places where you can go to avoid the rising tide. No one wants to go to the Valley of Burning Stone. It's actually said that there was once a mountain tribe entirely composed of rogue psykers. Psykers being the Fenrisian term for psionic or magic users. Rogue meaning that they were fallen to chaos. And the entire tribe was rogue psykers. And it didn't end well. It is said by legend that the Brotherhood of the Gods descended on the valley and exterminated the clan to the last, gathering up the bodies and burning them to leave no trace of that they ever existed. It is whispered in the rumors that the gods actually saved 5 children from the massacre and subjected them to the trials. The trials, obviously, the things that ascend you into becoming a Star Wolf. And because psykers, even though they are dangerous, are also very highly prized, basically it's implied that the Star Wolves kept these 5 young children alive, thinking that they might be saved, they might be able to be turned into Star Wolves and used for the greater good. 3 of the 5 were found to be too corrupted and were left in the wastes to die. The 4th died during the trials, and the 5th, the one who survived, ultimately was recruited, did become a Star Wolf, and that is said to be the rune priest Ulrich Iceclaw, and he is actually now known as the God of Psykers. So many of the mystics on Fenris will actually revere him as their patron. I'm going to go into one more, and then that's going to be it for the moment. I'm going to talk about the Cavern Cities. So, even though the people of Fenris don't necessarily know about spell jamming, they don't necessarily know about what all is up there, they are aware through their own planet's oral history that they are not originally from Fenris. they know that they came here from another place. And what the Cavern Cities are is actually the remains of the ships that brought them here. You have basically a bunch of ships that were brought here that were then cannibalized and turned into a settlement. They were buried into the ground for protection. They became this warren of caverns and rooms and facilities, and the people lived underground in relative safety for a while until chaos corruption set in and it got a bit awkward. These places were protected from predators. They seemed ideal until people started mutating, which is usually a bad sign in most situations. In the current day, everyone knows that the caves are corrupted, and everyone knows that it is forbidden by the Allfather to enter those caves. It is also the case that there have, of course, been people who have entered for one various reason or another. And in fact, previously mentioned, the Starwolf god Ragnar Blackmane, at one point, is said to have entered the caverns, journeyed deep within them, and destroyed a temple to the Changer of Ways, Zenich, at the bottom of the caverns. So, there we have it. The first part of the important geographical locations of Fenris. We do have a few more, so I will probably do a follow-up video on this at some point. For now, though, I need to get to my appointment. I need you to have a great day. I'd like you to like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. I don't know if it'll be more of this, or if I'll move on to something else and then come back to this. Like I said, when I'm on the move, it's hard to get the specifics of geography right, and I don't want to mess any of those up. So, for now, have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.